Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? So today I wanted to do two things in one, quite a unique thing. I want to tell you guys, repeat this concept again of how to determine if you're going to get negative results or positive results from a planet in its respective Mahadasha. And I wanted to discuss a horoscope of a person who's a great example of this concept. And his name is Narendra Modi. He's like this Indian congressman who has really made one of the states of India called Gujarat or superpower. And people are like waiting for him to become a prime minister, but he hasn't been selected for candidacy yet. So I don't know what's going on. It's just that people always ask me about his horoscope. And today I just had it. I'm like, okay, fine, let me see his horoscope. What's going on? So I looked at his horoscope and I was quite amazed at what I saw and what I missed. And then after I missed it, I saw it again. I'm like, oh, I missed it. That's what I missed. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about is the degree of your rising sign placement. So when you're born, when you get your horoscope, when you get your PDF horoscope, especially when you buy my book and I send you the link and stuff, you get this table of degrees of what every planet is, including the ascendant, because ascendant has degrees as well. Okay, because in 2.5 hours it needs to complete 30 degrees to move to the another rising sign on the first house. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, let's say Taurus ascendant. Taurus ascendant is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules the 6th house. Its Mool Trikon sign rules the 6th house. So, it's a functional malefic, okay? But this is one rule that you need to know. For Taurus and Scorpio ascendant, where the ascendant rules the Mool Trikon sign, it's not considered a functional malefic planet. It becomes neutralized, okay? It becomes neutral for this ascendant. But let's say if you're born at 29.5 degrees Taurus, and Venus is exalted in the 11th house at 29 degrees. Many astrologers will say, oh God, it's a bad Venus because it rules your 6th house and it's sleeping at 29 degrees. But the thing is, because your ascendant is at 29.5 degrees and Venus is degrees are within 3 degrees of the ascendant degrees, it shows that Venus is actually very powerful. Venus Mahadasha will give you lots of gains. It's the same thing with Bill Gates' chart. His degrees are very late, both Saturn and Venus. But his ascendant degrees are late too in Gemini. This is why Venus gave him the most wealth in its Mahadasha. So let me give you another example. Gemini ascendant. Gemini ascendant, okay, Mercury rules Gemini ascendant and Mercury rules the 4th house. But if Mercury is in the 10th house, it's in the sign of Pisces, it's debilitated. But if Mercury is at 1 degree in Gemini and Gemini ascendant is at 1 degree, that means Mercury is giving very powerful results because it's a functional benefic planet for your ascendant. So what if it's debilitated? You know how many people are born when Mercury is debilitated? You think everybody's going to go through the same bad results in Mercury Mahadasha? No. Now, the only time Mercury can give negative results is if Mercury's degrees close to the point where Parashara tells you that Mercury is debilitated in these degrees, or any planet, whenever it is debilitated in certain degrees. So Sun is debilitated at 10 degrees. So in Parashara classical text. So if your ascendant is, let's say, Leo, and it's at 10 degrees, and Sun is debilitated in the 3rd house at 10 degrees, that means you will have trouble with the Sun because it's actually in the classical degrees of being debilitated. But because ascendant is also strong, it'll neutralize that effect. You got to look at these things. You got to look at it in this way. So this way you'll know the game of the degrees that is played in astrology. Same thing, Gemini ascendant. Let's say 5 degrees Gemini rising, you were born. And your Mercury is at 5 degrees Virgo in the 4th house. That's a very, very strong positive Mercury because it's at the strongest point of the horoscope. And this is why you're able to judge if this planet is going to give bad results or good results. Now let me give you another example with Taurus. Since Venus does rule its Mool Trikon sign in the 6th house, and in classical way it is known as a functional malefic, okay, this will only matter. Venus will only give bad results as a functional malefic for Taurus, and Mars as a Scorpio ascendant for as a Scorpio Lord is when, let's say for a Taurus ascendant, Venus is debilitated in the 5th house at the exact same degrees as the ascendant. That's when Venus will give the bad results and tough results. Well, I hate saying good or bad, but you guys just have instilled me inside me this good and bad concept. It's just that it's going to give you a lot more tougher results. If it's like I showed you the exalted point, that's good, even though if it's a Mool Trikon ruling sign, because it'll overcome that. But if it rules a Mool Trikon sign and it's in the 5th house debilitated at that exact same degree as the ascendant, then yeah, Venus is debilitated. So these kind of things you have to watch out for in this, especially in this Taurus and Scorpio ascendant concept. And so this is why this is something you should always remember, because a lot of people mistake this. And a lot of people also ask me about the weakness and strength of the ascendant itself by the degrees. Does that matter? And then many people ask, if I'm born in early degrees of my ascendant or late degrees of my ascendant, is my ascendant weak? That doesn't matter. Your ascendant can never be weak by degrees, because that's not a planet. That's just like showing your 1st house, degrees of the 1st house. So whether your ascendant is at 0.10 degrees or 10 degrees or 29.999 degrees, your ascendant doesn't become weak or strong just by the degree placement. But the planet that rules it becomes strong and weak by the degree placement. So remember that, okay? So now let me jump ships onto the horoscope of Narendra Modi. Now this is a horoscope that is everywhere online. I don't know how they found it, but I'm not claiming it to be accurate. But based on his Mahadasha and based on the things that he has achieved in life, it's quite prominent that that particular horoscope. So let's bring his chart up on the screen. Well, Narendra Modi, according to many sources, is born as a Scorpio ascendant with Mars and Moon in the ascendant, Jupiter is in the 4th house, Rahu in the 5th house, Saturn and Venus in the 10th house, and Ketu, Mercury, Sun in the 11th house. Okay, so this is his horoscope. Now, what makes him so powerful? Well, first of all, he has a very strong Raj Yoga. Actually, he has 2 very strong Raj Yogas, which also actually creates a Maharaj Yoga for him. Because the 9th Lord and the Ascendant are together in the Ascendant. Not to mention, both of them are very good friends. When you have Raj Yoga occurring between Kendra and Trikon, and one of the 2 most powerful houses, which is 9th is the most powerful Trikon house, and Ascendant is the most essential house because it's your life, your physical being. And when these 2 collide, come together in the Ascendant while being friends, that creates a very powerful Raj Yoga. The 2nd Raj Yoga. So the other powerful Raj Yoga he has is the 4th and 5th Lord, Jupiter, which is the 5th Lord, and Saturn, who's the 4th Lord, are mutual aspects in Kendra. Okay, 2nd Raj Yoga. And then you have the 10th Lord in conjunction with the 11th Lord. So shows gains as well, gain of authority. That's a very powerful yoga also. Because 10th and 11th Lord, one is status, 10th Lord, and the 11th Lord is the gain of status. So gain of status are together. So these are some of very powerful things that I saw. However, one thing when I saw his horoscope, the first thing I look at is the degrees. But what I forgot is look at the ascending degrees. Now, if you notice his horoscope, his Mercury, Mars, and Sun are below 1 degree. Meaning they are sleeping. They are weak. They shouldn't be giving him any good results. So how the hell did he rise up in 2005 and became the most famous person? And obviously, I'm just going by what you're telling me because I don't know what ups and downs he has gone through in his life. But looking at the Mahadasha, which should have given him the worst results, why is it that Sun Mahadasha really brought him out? And Moon Dasha is already going on for him, one of the best periods of his life. And then Mars is going to come, which is again going to be the best period of his life starting 2021. Well, the reason is, if you look at the ascendant degree, is 1.5 degrees. He's born at 1.5 degrees Scorpio. And even though all the three major planets that shows gain, authority, and life force are below 1 degree, they're still within 3 degrees of the ascendant degrees. No matter where they're placed, they can be placed anywhere. But if, as long as they're in a good house and not debilitated, that shows that this planet is going to give very good results in its own Mahadasha period. And if you notice, Mars is its own sign, ascendant lord, and Mars is a 6th lord also, which is Multrakan. So it becomes a functional malefic, right? It becomes a functional malefic. But then there is this rule that if it's a ascendant lord, then it actually has a neutralizing effect on the person. So although in Mars Mahadasha he can face allegations and enemies will come after him, he'll destroy them in no time. Because of the fact the 6th house ruler is the ascendant ruler himself. So even though in this case it's a very good example, that's why I'm using, because it's not, the ascendant lord is a functional malefic. So in Mars Mahadasha you can see him going through some sort of a sickness, which I don't want to get into, okay, but he will face some disease, but he'll overcome it. Because Mars is strong, right at that prominent ascendant degrees. And then Sun is also, and along with Mercury, are at that ascendant, most prominent ascendant degrees. And this is why he has arose out of nowhere in India. And the reason, and here's another thing I'm going to tell you. A lot of you ask me, is he going to be a prime minister? Couple, he has this yoga, that yoga. Is he going to be a prime minister? I cannot do that. I don't know. Because I have to look at the opponent that's going to run against him to see which one has a better time period during the time of election, during the day of election. So right now I can tell you all the Raj Yoga that Narendra Modi has and how great his life is, even though his Venus is really, Venus and 7th house are really badly placed because of the fact it's conjunct with the friend Saturn, but it delays the marriage for him. And then Ketu aspects the 7th house along with Mars aspecting the 11th house, 7th house, which is also functional malefic. So it shows a lot of, I don't know if he probably should have like 3 divorces in his life. But my main thing to tell you is that until you know an opponent that's going to run against Narendra Modi, only then you can determine who's going to win. So if whenever he runs for prime minister and he's running against somebody, that's when I can analyze the 2 horoscope and I can go over with you on YouTube or on my Facebook that, hey, you see this guy has a less powerful Raj Yoga than Narendra Modi, or Narendra Modi has a lesser powerful yoga than this guy, and this guy's transits of Jupiter and Saturn are brilliant. I think the other guy's going to win. You got to do this. You can't just go by. I remember this a really good astrologer that I know who actually got me into astrology also when I consulted with him. He says Hillary Clinton will win. And she lost. And he never saw the horoscope of President Obama, who came out of nowhere. But in the early on stages, he's like, no, Hillary's going to win. Hillary's going to win. And my uncle, and this is something my uncle said, that you cannot decide who's going to win unless you have the opponent who's running against him. Yeah, unless this was a tyranny and a regime, a communist regime where only one guy will rule, fine. You'll rule, no matter if you have a good or bad horoscope. But when it's a democracy, when you have a couple of people running against each other, always look at both horoscopes and not just rely on one. Because somebody can come from nowhere and have a much powerful horoscope than Narendra Modi and take over India. All right? So guys, this was my small video on ascendant degrees and how important it is to judge your functional malefic and benefic planets based on this concept. And functional malefic are planets that rules the 6th, 8th, and 12th house with their Mool Trikon sign only. And functional benefic planets are that rules the Trikon houses with their functional benefic, or Kendra houses with functional benefic signs, like Saturn rules the sign of Aquarius. So if the Aquarius is in the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, Saturn is a functional malefic, like for Cancer ascendant. But if Saturn rules the 5th house or 9th house, like for a Libra ascendant or Gemini ascendant, then it's a functional benefic. So, and if you don't know this concept right now, you should check out my videos and my books at the link below. That will make more sense out of it. And after that, looking at horoscope is going to be far more easier. But just wanted to share this video of how to, look at the bad and good results of planets, or how to look at strong and weak results of planet, mainly I should say. And so this is called the ascendant degree concept. All right, so guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know about your ascendant degrees and if any planet is close to your ascendant degrees, for that, check out the links below. Check out my books, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And remember, my book, Aspects at the Speed of Light, comes out on September 7th. And when you get these books, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below. Otherwise, see you tomorrow with the Sun in the 11th house. Bye-bye.